what areas are we going to cover in this workshop? Now that I'm done with this sort of a basic going on here about originality and the different forms of it, probably scaring a few people, what we're going to cover here is all kinds of different levels. Three major ones, so let me go over them. We're going to first off, we're going to work on sentence by sentence level. There's a sentence by sentence level of originality that is moderately easy to teach, and we're not going to teach much of it here because if you have troubles with it, there are other workshops that take 6 weeks to get you down into it. The depth workshop is the one I would recommend highly if you're having trouble with sentence by sentence, and we'll get to it here. And in that sentence by sentence level, talk about different ways of rewriting, because rewriting is something that is good and bad depending on how you're doing it. Now, Heinlein's rules, of course, say you never rewrite unless to editorial demand, and beginning writers automatically interpret that as, well, I can't touch anything in my manuscript after I type it. No, fix the mistakes and then leave the story alone. That's what Heinlein was talking about, because one of the biggest time sinks that writers and beginning writers get into is they think rewriting is writing. No, it's not. Rewriting is just messing with the same darn thing. No, rewriting is typing original words. Rewriting is not writing. So rewriting has different levels, and we're going to talk about that here and how to keep the originality in when you are rewriting. There's all kinds of tricks here. And one of the aspects of this is I found an old story. I finally figured out how to convert some of my old stories that never got published. In fact, I never sent them out, which is why they never got published. And what would occur is I got into this and I went, oh, I got to put some depth in this opening. So I would write a new, brand new 1,000-word opening into the story and then mold it right into the rest of the story. And I'd give it to Chris to read, and she'd say, well, you got to run through the rest of the story to bring it up to the level of the first part of the story. It looked the same to me, because it's my own work, so I don't, again, worst judge of my own character, of my own writing, but it looked the same to me. But what had happened is I'm 25 years down the road from that story that I just did that for. And so my writing skill is here after 25 more years of practice, thank heavens, and when I wrote that story, it was here. Well, I put my writing skill level on it for the first 1,000 words and then kind of molded it in, and it was clear what I had done. I need to run all the way through the entire thing. So we'll talk about how I need to do that. How sometimes it's just better to throw the story away and write the idea again fresh. That's called redrafting. And so we'll talk about that on that sentence by sentence level. On the story level, there's all kinds of different things. This is what I was talking about that happened in the workshop. Everybody in that workshop was writing sentence by sentence at a moderately professional level. Where they had problem with the originality was in the story level, what we call the low-hanging fruit. They picked ideas that had literally been done to death and were the logical ideas. It was the first thing that popped into their head, and off they go typing. Okay, that is quickest way to doing exactly what everybody else is doing. There are ways to get to originality in the story level, and we're going to spend a week or so on that because that's really important. On that plotting level, how do you plot? How do you do this? I mean, I have an entire workshop also on plotting. I'm not pushing other workshops. I'm just saying that I can only do so much in here because that plotting workshop is 6 weeks long. The ideas workshop is 6 weeks long. If you have trouble coming up with ideas, you need to take the ideas workshop. But what I'm saying here is that we're going to touch on these things and try to give you a different take on it. How do you get original ideas? How do you come at something, and so that you're making sure you're not picking low-hanging fruit, and it's really important because not only is sentence by sentence important, but also the story level is important, because if you're writing a story, the editor has already bought one last week or last month or never wants to see another one like that again, then you're doing something wrong and your stories are going to get rejected. or readers are going to go, oh, I've seen enough of those, and they just won't buy them if you're indie publishing. So part of the issue there. The third thing we're going to talk about here is career level originality. Holy smokes, folks. There's a lot of ways to walk this road into a career in fiction writing. A lot of ways. There is no one right way, and so you have to come up with your own way, your own original ways of approaching things. So if you're going to my blog or anybody else's blog and doing it exactly the same, no, you have to actually sometimes step back and say, all right, what's the right way for me? What fits my way of doing things? I mean, I'm doing Smith's Monthly, for heaven's sakes, but I'm an old pulp writer at heart, and so I have my own magazine. I have Zane, like Zane Grey had his own, and Mike Shane had his own, and on and on and on. I got my own magazine. I'm putting out 80, 90,000 words of original fiction or fiction in that magazine every month, called Smith's Monthly. I'm having a blast. It fits me. Nobody else has done this sort of thing before. At least this way, Mike Shane and Zane Grey had other writers in their magazine. I'm filling the entire magazine by myself. I'm an old pulp writer at heart. That fits me. Everybody else would go, oh, God, what was it? Yeah. And you wouldn't want to copy that because it wouldn't fit you. Career originality. So we're going to talk about it sentence by sentence, story level and plotting, and career originality. And there's going to be lots of what's going to happen in this workshop, folks, is that you're going to hear 4 things and you go, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. Oh, I didn't know that. That's a good idea. That's the ones you listen to. Those are the ones when they go, oh, shoot, good idea, that you listen to and take from. Because if you get numbers of those in this workshop, then it will be worth your time and your money. Okay? We've got an assignment below. This will be fun. See you next week.